Hey, once again, we're back. This is the OnFire show. We're here with our buddies. I'm Daryl McKell Brooks.
Joe Ciano.
Neil Schloss.
And it is a great third. Yes, and we're here at Hamilton Radio.
Great third?
Huh?
What'd you say?
That's a great third. 3 today.
Oh, it's the third.
Yeah.
It's February 3rd, 2/3.
Also, it's
Mark that.
Also, it's Black History Month, and we're excited. And
Black History should be all the time, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's not a matter of a month to learn.
I know.
mean, it's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime to learn. You're definitely right. You know, one of the things of Black History Month, a little information about Black history is, and I am on the show. This is, I like to everybody know I am a black person.
You're black?
Really?
Really,
Dude,
yeah.
damn.
Uh-huh.
They didn't tell me that before I started.
Yeah, oh, yeah. You know, and I just say, and a little history note, right, that I'm the first African American, black African American.
To have two white hosts?
Co-hosts? From Trenton to run for Congress. The first.
The first
from Trenton, New Jersey. And I am the first person from Trenton to run for United States Senate. Have to be born in Trenton.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, wow. That's history.
Is that truly history?
It's
like
truly.
It's in the history
No,
books?
it's not. Well, it's historical.
Or is that your history?
No. Dr. Washington is a historian from Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
He said he said, Darryl, you're the first African American to run for Congress, born in Trenton, and you're the first person, whether or African American or white, born in Trenton.
Well,
run for
listen,
the United States Senate.
I'll say this. I ran.
That'll give me a cup of coffee in the city of Trenton.
I'm just on the Board of Ed in Millstone. It's a local election. I mean, I was elected because no one else was running. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I got in for that reason. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd win if I had a contest. But I've met the two co-hosts here. Mm-hmm. Both have run for office, bigger office. I mean, running for U.S. federal government position. Mm-hmm. So I give these guys a lot of credit, both of these guys, Daryl and
Well, actually, now that you mention it, even though we have all lost our major elections, I am the Republican County Committee man for my district.
Oh, wow.
And I won the first time I ran as a write-in 3-0. I got the winning base hit to put me ahead 1-0 because I voted first in the district and held the shutout. And the second time around, I didn't campaign, so I only won 2-0.
Oh, wow. Are you the first Columbus Knight?
I don't know if I am. I am probably the first Italian, Irish, Dutch, Hungarian to hold that position.
Wow.
Well, I wonder how many people know what a Republican committee member does.
Nobody knows what it does. I don't even do anything, really.
I mean, it's just a section by your house, right?
Yes, and then what you're supposed to do is go to county meetings and help influence the party. This is a big Ron Paul kind of campaign for liberty thing to take over a major party. But there's only like 4 of us in the whole county, so we don't win anything.
Also, we got to talk about our guest who's coming on today. Who is his name? Is what?
Oh, Adam Kokesh.
Adam Kokesh.
I mean, I met him in 2008. Mm-hmm. I was in the city at Webster Hall for it was a Ron Paul event or a Rand Paul. I think it was a Rand Paul event, and I was with my buddy Dave Palmieri. And Dave's like, "Dude, you got to meet this guy standing right there. Mm-hmm. He is a badass dude." Mm-hmm. Badass.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is.
He's a U.S. Marine, fought in Fallujah, and he was just came back with so much vigor and energy about liberty and what he was fighting over there for, and what he's fighting here for right now. Mm-hmm. And a year ago, he was arrested in Washington D.C. And put on trial for a Second Amendment right, and the U.S., after all is said and done, dropped the charges.
Right. I mean,
so it's going to be interesting to hear his story. If he
well,
wants
he's
to
a
talk
guy,
about that.
I mean, we like to consider ourselves activists, but he puts himself really out there on the edge. He's a guy who's been arrested several times, who's led major demonstrations. He's been arrested for dancing, at the Lincoln Memorial, because they have an anti-dancing.
That's Jefferson Memorial.
Maybe it was
right?
the Jefferson Memorial, but he had a silent dance, so evidently he was moving his body in an illegal way, and it was in a rhythmatic method that he was arrested for that.
Bobby Brown?
And the park police did a body slam to him. I mean, they took him, lifted him up. I mean, I'm a wrestling coach, and literally the move that the park police did was an illegal move in wrestling. It would have been called potentially dangerous. They would have put their hand behind their head and said, potentially dangerous, 1 point for the opponent. So I mean, I saw that body slam, and I give Adam Kokesh because
You can't screw around with the illegal dancers, I'll tell you.
I know, like, it might have been the way he was dancing.
Someday he'll be dancing on a plane or something.
And also, we're definitely gonna talk about. We posted it on the Facebook pages and on the news site about ISIS, what is happening. Also, with the burning of another victim, and it's terrible.
I've been away, so I don't watch the.
You've been in Disney World,
dude. I was in Disney.
Measles.
No, I was actually on the boat.
Nobody burned anybody.
I was on the boat, and I'll tell you, Disney Wonder,
no measles?
incredible. I actually
You didn't know they had measles, did you?
No, when you told me, you actually said, oh, yeah, they had a measles outbreak. And I'm like, I was unaware.
What were the spots on Mickey?
But listen, Disney Wonder was awesome.
Yes.
I did magic on the ship. I was doing like close-up magic. It was great.
So we usually we're going to start off with the weekend. And Neil, since you've been talked to the magic show and all. No, Joe, because I know Neil has some more to talk about what happened in Princeton. So, Joe, talk about your weekend. How was your weekend? That's how we get started today, folks. We get started about the weekend. It is the 3rd, and Joe's going to talk about his weekend.
It was Super Bowl weekend. Super Bowl
Whoa,
Sunday.
What a great Super Bowl.
The best Super Bowl that I've ever seen.
The best.
That Tom Brady coming back, but the last second interception.
Brady.
Was, what was that man's name? We forgot his name, but he is a hero. He's an American hero for winning the Super Bowl. Also, my Super Bowl was played earlier in the day when the Spartans beat the University of Michigan in basketball, so I was all mellow by the time the Super Bowl came around. But it was a nice Sunday. We had some Italian food, no Super Bowl party, just kicking back
just
and relaxing.
You guys?
Yeah, just me, my wife, my father-in-law, and my brother-in-law. So.
Well, I got to say, I'm glad to see you again, Joe.
Glad to see you.
Yeah. It was the Super Bowl definitely was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that ending couldn't have been a better scripted play, how it worked out.
That is. It's just like it's almost like professional wrestling. At the last second, somehow or another, the good guy pulls it out.
I mean, that catch when it bounced off the guy. I mean, that was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was watching. I was just before I came up here. I was at a restaurant. They had the sound down, but they had some YouTube video of this guy from Seattle, and he ran through his TV when that happened. He got so upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he bull rushed his TV and ran right through the screen.
Yeah, we actually ended up at a big party, Joe.
Ah.
We went to a beautiful house in Millstone. Judy and Scott. I want to thank them for having us over. It was just incredible. Great friends from town. Just good to see everyone again. And like I said, it ended up being great ending. It couldn't have been scripted better, like I said.
Oh, definitely. I was sitting there watching the Super Bowl, and I'm looking at Tom Brady's face when the guy catches the ball.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's just like, oh, no. I mean, it was one of those, if Seattle would have won, I was expecting Seattle to win.
That guy would be a legendary catch.
Yeah, that'd be one of the greatest catches ever in the NFL
We forgot
Super Bowl.
We forgot about it by
Almost
now.
like a Lynn Swan type catch in the Super Bowl against
yeah.
Dallas Cowboys.
And how much illegal gambling do you think was happening going on?
Oh, my God.
Illegal, right? It's
illegal, but
is it illegal?
Most of it now is being legalized.
Well, it's a question like I think Adam will even say it could be illegal, but it's not unlawful.
That's true.
All right, so the law supersedes. Law is the top of the food chain when it comes to the idea. Legal is below it. I mean, you say statutes below that, ordinances. And I bring this up because, of course, part of my weekend was on Monday. I had to represent myself
Again,
in court for a parking ticket this time. Because, of course, I'm tired of everything, tired of even the smallest amount of money that they want to grab from my pocket. So I went to the courthouse, and I was number one. I got my ticket. The ticket number is just the order of how you get to speak to the prosecutor and basically say, are we going to trial or are we going to plea bargain? So they let the lawyers go first. Lawyers have priority over the court. I don't know why they have priority over a CPA, but and I asked that question.
Did you tell them you were a CPA?
I did. I said, excuse me, do CPAs have priority here as well? And there were two lawyers there, and they're like, no, just the lawyers do. I'm like, well, how do I get on that list? Like, how can I put the CPA equal to the lawyers so that we can just show up, go first, and go back to our job?
Because when you pass the bar, you're an officer of the court. You're one of them. You're in the family. You're not in the family.
Yeah, you're not a family. Your distant cousin.
I think I'm distant cousins.
Yeah. CPA.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, so I ended up sitting there. The judge finally calls my case, which was pretty much after the lawyers go, because the lawyers have first priority on speaking to the prosecutor, and the lawyers have the first to go in front of the judge. It's like
you're
high
in
priority.
their house. Or
Well, I guess you passed into their bar, if they allow you. So it's kind of funny that I got called up and said to the judge, he said, Mr. Schloss, you paid the ticket, and that doesn't make sense. And I said, excuse me, I just want to clarify the situation. I found out on Friday that my wife had paid the ticket without me knowing. And I said to the judge, and I could tell everyone on this radio station, my wife will pay any ticket sent to her if it's from an agency of the government because she fears them. That's my feeling, and I definitely felt that she paid it under duress. So I said to the judge, Your Honor, with all due respect, my wife paid this under duress. I want my money back, and I will actually want to have – I didn't add this. I want to get interest on it because you had my money for a few days, which was not your money because it's my money.
Did he tell you to go to hell?
Hard-earned money. And he just said, he goes, well, I forgot exactly what he said, because he said, did you listen to my opening spiel, which, of course, most people don't listen to because it's pretty boring. And I said to him, no, in fact, I love listening to this stuff because I'm fascinated by your comments about the Constitution and the rights. And I have the very simple question, does the state have rights over me? Does the state have rights over individuals? And the judge turned around, looked at me, and said, yeah, they do. Motion denied. So I have to appeal it now up to a state superior court, which is going to cost me time, which for at this point in time with tax season going on, and as a CPA, I'm very busy preparing taxes. It's to take time away from my office costs a lot of money. So, I'm contemplating different thoughts on what I should do. So I'd love to ask you two guys this question. Like, should I just go and ask for a demand of $5,000 if they lose? Should I do $20,000? Should I do $50,000?
Are we getting a share of this?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can sue for the highest amount.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And then we'll split it with our listeners.
Yeah,
I mean,
No.
No.
Oh, no.
Don't
Oh,
be
I'm sorry,
ungrateful
guys.
to the listeners.
Screw the listeners. Hi, guys.
You can shoot. Listen, you're the Jewish Jedi.
I'm the Jewish Jedi, but
So I think,
I brought my
whatever
magic.
you
I
feel.
brought cards with me, so I was going to do a magic trick to them just to make it entertaining. But I left my Constitution deck at the office. So on the way to the court, I was like, damn. I have a Constitution deck, which is one of the most amazing playing card decks you can get.
I can see the judge now. All right, send him off to jail. Lock him up.
Lock him up. He's out of his mind.
You violated the first rule of litigation and cross-examination is never ask a question in court unless you know the answer.
Well, I know the answer, my friend.
Yeah. We want to.
Joe, I know the answer. Seriously?
It's definitely so exciting when you talk about you going to court and fighting the system. I mean, we all are.
Yeah. I got another
John,
one.
go.
I have another one. February 11th.
Okay.
East Brunswick,
East
ladies
Brunswick.
and gentlemen. It's going to be for traffic, cell phone ticket.
Cell phone ticket.
Yeah, the police officer on the record, which I have on video, and I played for some people. He said to me, he goes, "You're hands-free," and gives me a ticket for being hands-free.
Wow. We should tell.
It doesn't
our
make
listeners-
sense.
Yeah,
They're
it
supposed to
doesn't-
be hands-free.
Yeah,
I mean, I might play it later in the show.
Wow, it's crazy.
So
We want everybody, if you want to give us a call at 609-800-1003. We're talking about a lot of good, interesting stuff.
Chat room.
And chat room, go to the chat room.
If you want to go to the chat room, go to www.hamiltonradio.net, and you can click straight on the HR chat room. We'll bring you. Actually, if you click on that, there will be the icon of the OnFire show. Click on that, and that'll bring you into our chat room. If you want to have your name shown as a user, you can request a permission from our producer, Ruben, here. Just register on HamiltonRadio.net, and your name will appear, like Steve from Virginia. Steve, welcome to the show, of course. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other guests in the chat room right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all getting ready for the Adam Kokesh calling in, because
I'm stoked.
am damn excited to talk to this guy. I've had great chats with him right after he got out of prison, and I talked to him before. I mean, I was down in Tampa, I think, with him, and I've run into him multiple times. Actually, I met him. I saw him in Galveston, Texas.
Okay.
I went for Ron Paul's birthday back in 2010. This is how nuts I was. Like, this is how much I dove into the deep end about Dr. Paul.
Oh, wow.
But like I said, Dr. Paul's in the past.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's great people now like Adam Kokesh, Nathan Cox, who's been on the show, Gigi Bauman, that's been on the show. Who else I can think of? Murray Sabrin. So Alita Eck.
Alita Eck.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Steve.
Steve Forbes.
No, Steve Uccino.
Uccio.
Uccio.
We want to let everybody know.
Who's the guy from Oklahoma?
Dax Eubanks.
That's
He was actually just at the State House doing some talking about a subject. I think it was vaccination. I think
that's a hot subject right now.
I want to let everybody know. Give us a call at 609-800-1003. Tell us what's on your mind. We have about a good few minutes to talk about what's on your mind. We want to definitely talk about what's happening around the world. What's going on with ISIS, and it's terrible. And
how about Scott Walker, 2016? Thoughts on that?
No.
No,
no, it's too early.
It's too early.
It's too early.
Well, Steve from Virginia thinks Scott Walker.
Oh,
you think he's going to be?
2016.
He's got home court advantage there. That doesn't count.
Yeah. You want everybody to give us a call at 609-800-1003. There's a lot going on around the world. And, give us your opinion and call us about what do you think some of the things are happening around the world, especially with ISIS and what has happened. And
how about vaccination also?
Yeah, the vaccination.
That's on all over the radio now, all over the
radio.
TV.
It's politics. It's one of those things where, it was Ebola, one for about a month. Now it's the measles.
To me, it's just give people choice.
Yeah.
Give them a choice.
Give them a choice.
Just like park testing, give them a choice. Talk about Common Core, give them a choice to opt in, opt out. Everything's opting in, opting out.
Yes.
Give them a choice to be actually being ruled over by the state or having the state have rights over you. You can choose that, or you can opt out, which I think I'm trying to do is opt out of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. One of the things that what's happening in the news is, we have our prayers for, I want to talk a little bit about that. Whitney Houston's daughter, and Whitney and Bobby Brown's daughter, she's in a coma right now, and she was found in the water in a tub. And it's so sad, knowing that her mother died in the same situation, Whitney Houston, and now she is right now in a coma induced by the doctor, and it's a shame that Whitney Houston's daughter has to go through the same thing, and the question is where's the family at? Where's the support, knowing that she was going through a lot of different things? You would think that the family was there. You would think that the Houston family should have been there, and the Bobby Brown family should have been there, and it's a terrible thing when you see her daughter. She's the legacy of Whitney Houston.
Listen, I lost my mom, so I can talk about losing a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the worst thing. I mean, it is tears your heart out when it happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, time heals. Time has wounded that heal that I can talk about it. I can open up and say, I miss my mom every day. I think about her. I wish she was here to watch my kids grow up. A lot of stuff like that. I mean, just like everyone else that has lost parents, it is the hardest thing. But does time? There is a time where you can actually not get emotionally where you break down because you've reached that point. That to me, the memory is the most important thing in life. Is to leave a memory that the stories just go on, like a John Galt. Like that whole thing about it's like it becomes a everlasting memory. Like who is John Galt? Yeah. That saying.
But it's one of the things is that if once you see their daughter, and she never she probably didn't get the help that she needed, and they're now saying there was drugs in the room. So it's it's terrifying when this is happening, and I'm sure all her friends and family and people that are supporting the family is probably praying for her, but she's going through a definitely struggle. She's on a ventilator right now, and she's not breathing on her own, And it just bothers me that here's another young person that she had a drug problem and an alcohol problem that she could not get the help she needed to deal with her situation. And it's like that for all around the kids around the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were focusing on that because it's a celebrity, and Whitney did that. But you find, a lot of these, you can't live your children's lives for them. They're still responsible for themselves. And you find, we find this time and time again too with celebrity kids. Bill Cosby's son, Ennis, he killed himself. What's his face? The football coach of the Indianapolis Colts, the one who won the Super Bowl. His son killed himself too. It's just, but in the end of the day, one, are the families there for them? I think they, to some extent, I'm sure they are, but, you can't live your kid's life for them either. That, and there's probably, I imagine some lack of spiritual grounding going on,
And just guest 41345, of course, Darryl, you were right. I mean, where was the family?
Yeah, and, one of the things, before we got to wrap it up, but, the family, I got to say this, everybody said that even in the movie, the television movie, that Bobby Brown got Whitney Houston on cocaine. Well, no, it was wrong. Whitney Houston was already on cocaine before she met Bobby Brown, and the person that got Whitney Houston on cocaine was her brother. Who traveled with her. Isn't that something? Her older brother got on cocaine. This is the OnFire show. We'll be right back. We're going to the station at HamiltonRadio.net.
Meet Glenn Kelly.
You can see there are hardwood floors throughout the home. Is that Glenn Kelly? Hey, Glenn!
Glenn is broker of record of Glenn Kelly Real Estate. Glenn's experience and determination makes him a top-producing realtor year after year. Whether residential or commercial, buying or selling, there's no one like Glenn Kelly.
I'm Glenn Kelly, and I want to be your realtor.
The warning signs.
First, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right. Then I realized that I have the power, and there is an alternative.
Stop the cycle of political abuse. Vote Libertarian. Find out more at lp.
Call Andrew Martino, Farmers Insurance, for all your insurance needs. Mr. Martino will give you the professionalism you expect from an experienced insurance agency. With Farmers Insurance, you will get the maximum coverage at competitive pricing. For a quick quote, contact Andrew Martino at 609-256-3364. 609-256-3364. Email Andrew at andrew.albright@farmersagency.com. That's andrew.albright@farmersagency.com. And Facebook, Andrew at Andrew Martino of Farmers. That's ANDREWMARTINO of Farmers. Mention this ad to Andrew to let him know you heard this right here on HamiltonRadio.net.
Over 500,000 American men are in prison today for nonviolent crimes. Many billions of your tax dollars are spent to keep them there. If this is not your idea of how to support the American family, you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. That's 1-800-ELECT-US. The information is free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org. is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit njlp.org. At njlp.org website, you can get updated news on what njlp.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help njlp.org. And again, that's njlp.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle. A new advanced gym just opened right here in Hamilton, New Jersey. Primal Gym, New Jersey. They feature martial arts, combat sports, youth programs, strength and fitness, and private intense training. Primal Gym. Learn how to protect yourself in self-defense. Primal Gym is located at 2103 Whitehorse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Again, that's 2103 Whitehorse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Call them at 609-736-2307. Again, that's Primal Gym, New Jersey, PRIMALGYMNJ.com. Training everyday people to be champions.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, back with HamiltonRadio.net. This is the On Fire Show, and I'm here with myself, Don McKell Brooks.
Joe Ciano.
And Neil Schloss.
And we got Adam Kokesh coming on at 9 o'clock. It's 8:55. Anything going on in the chat room there?
Oh, yeah. The chat room is growing. More people are signing in. Again, if you're not familiar with this, go to HamiltonRadio.net on the website. You'll see the HR chat room, and click on the On Fire button. That'll get you in as a guest. You'll be listed with a guest with a number, or you can actually register by clicking on register. Ruben here, of course, will approve you as quickly as he can, and then you can come in with a name showing up. Like I said, Steve from Virginia, thanks for listening. We actually have Donnie, guest number 96764, from Australia, boys.
From Australia, wow.
Hey. Australia, welcome.
Wow. How you doing, Australia? You know, one of the things is, about our show is that, especially with Joe, Joe has us on, Stitcher, Joe? We're now on Stitcher?
We're on Stitcher.
Yeah,
Go
Stitcher.
Look for us on iTunes, on Podomatic, on Stitcher, on Blogger.
Where else?
And on YouTube. Just look for the YouTube.
Do they get to see our ugly faces?
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Talk about yourself.
Talk about myself. I don't know. I'm the bald guy. Everyone loves being. The bald is in, man.
Bald is in.
I think bald is in.
Yeah, bald is in.
Right. We have pictures of the heavy guy who used to be here at one time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the heavy guy.
The heavy guy.
Oh, the big guy.
The big man.
The big man. Yes, you know, one of the things that's just so exciting is with the YouTube, we have about, how many shows? Like 10, 11, 12?
Oh, let's see. On YouTube, I think we're about 15 or 16
shows.
And then on the other guys, we have everything since November 1st. So that gets us to about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hamilton Radio, we're there too. Yes, in Hamilton Radio, we're also.
But our guest that's coming on, I think, has hundreds of shows.
Hundreds of shows.
Well, that's just showing off.
Well, that's okay, because he is very impressive. He has a show called Adam vs. the Man, which he'll tell us more how much production he's doing lately.
Adam versus the Man.
Adam versus the Man.
And you know, one of the things is that the Man, you know, I remember
19.
I used to, every time I would go down to Georgia with my family, my aunt and my mother, when I was little, you know, they would say, oh, there's the man, meaning the police officers, you know, driving the man. That's what they call him, the man. I guess that's the man. You see him driving by, yeah, we see the man. Meaning
well, that's
cops.
not the man he's referring to.
What man he's talking about?
I mean, if you're talking about the cops,
same things,
to me,
police,
it's
federal government, you know,
agencies, or creations from the mind, right? That's the way I see it as a CPA. A person walks in my office, says, I want to create an entity. Entity can be called the state of New Jersey. I can send the paperwork up to the Fed. The Fed assigns an EIN number, and then at that point, you're an existing entity. So, I mean, I can create a new state if I wanted to. I could say the state of freedom, which is funny.
That'd be a great state.
Yeah.
Freedom State.
Well, remember I said...
I thought that was New Hampshire.
Dax Eubank,
okay,
the guy from Oklahoma who ran for governor,
yeah.
He went to a rally today called WTF. WTF. Where's the freedom?
Oh.
Who's calling in, man?
The Freedom's calling in.
We have a call. Adam calling in.
I guess this is Adam Kokesh.
Yeah. Let's get him on the line.
Hello, Adam.
Speaking.
This is Adam?
Speaking, can you hear me?
Hey, welcome. You're on Fire Show here with Daryl McKell Brooks, Joe Ciano.
And Neil Schloss, Adam. So
Awesome.
Welcome, buddy.
Welcome on the show. We're excited. Definitely excited.
So Adam, I've kind of given a few shouts out on what you've done. Talked about you were a U.S. Marine stationed in Fallujah. Talked about your arrest in D.C. We talked about the arrest of you dancing in D.C. And just hopefully people are excited to hear what you have to say. I don't ever think you've been interviewed. I know you interview a lot of people. So I hope this is your first interview.
Well, I do more on the other end of the microphone, that's for sure. And what I really love is getting to do man on the street interviews. And we've had a couple really awesome ones out lately about American Sniper. I hope people check those out on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, I was telling about you have Adam vs. the Man is your show.
Well, no, we actually killed Adam vs. the Man when I released my new book, Freedom. And it's now just the Freedom Line. The Freedom Line is our YouTube channel. It's the website, thefreedomline.com. And I feel like I've evolved past my Adam versus the Man phase. And it's not that anything has changed in terms of what I'm striving for and achieving a voluntary society, but that the methodology has really changed. And for a long time, I've come to think of the effectiveness of activism based on how many people it wakes up, how many minds are really liberated from conventional, thought control. And for me, that's why I wrote the book. That's why I started writing the book when I was in jail. And if you confront people, if you want to be versus people, if you want to be oppositional, that's fine. You can do a lot. You can stop a lot of harm. You can fight for a lot of liberty. But in the long run, if you really want to achieve a free society, you have to have the attitude of lifting people up, of enlightening them, of raising them up, of educating them, and of sharing the important truths that you figured out that are meaningful to you and make your life better. And so that's what my message is really all about now. And I think this is reflected in some of my most recent work as well. It's not it's not about pulling punches in any way. It's about hitting ideas instead of people. And I've been accused of being a leader in the freedom movement for a long time, and I think I'm finally actually doing something on that note by saying let's make our activism about what actually is going to achieve a free society. Let's really objectively look at what is an efficient use of our limited time, energy, and resources. What brings us the most satisfaction? For me, it's knowing that I'm most effective, and knowing where we are as a movement right now, I know that the most effective thing to do is to wake people up. So I wrote this book. If people think that it's not the most effective way to wake people up to ask them to read this book, then I encourage people to come up with their own thing that's going to be at least as effective.
Oh, okay. So, Adam, this is Daryl. Tell everybody where you're located at. What area?
Well, we're actually based out of Thousand Oaks, California right now, but I'm living out of an RV trailer. I've been in this thing for the last 4 months and on the road for about half of it. We are still gearing up for the American Campfire Freedom Tour to promote the book. We had a successful Indiegogo campaign last year, and so we're just waiting for the next print run of books to arrive. And it's a great problem to have when you're self-publishing, to run out of books. So we're waiting for those to come in, and when we do, we'll be getting our perks shipped out and getting on the road to do about 100 personal deliveries all over the United States and give out as many free copies of the book as possible.
When are you coming to Jersey, Adam?
Well, we're working that out. We've got, I've got a couple of invites for some events in Jersey. I think the LT wanted me to come out for one of their conventions or meetings, and I hope I can do that. But we're still in the process of planning the tour. It's going to be another week or two. So if people have requests, they have events they want me to hit up, send me an email, adam@thefreedomline.com. We're going to be at Pork Fest. We're going to be at Freedom Fest. We're going to be at in Sturgis for Bike Week. So we've got a lot of big things planned, and we're just sort of trying to fill in all of the time for the next year to be as effective as possible.
Well, Adam, I want to invite you, if you can, to come out to our we're scheduled for April 15th, the Tax Day Rally at the State House in New Jersey. That's April 15th. That's on a Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday, and Tax Day Rally, and Neil.
Tax Day, I definitely will be there. I've been to every one you've put on, and
you haven't been to a Tax Day.
Restoring Freedoms.
Was it Restoring Freedoms? Or was it just Tax Day Rally?
Yeah, Tax Day.
Well, to me, every day is Tax Day, according to people that are willing to hand over their money, like
true.
voluntarily, of course, according to Harry Reid, to the government. I mean, that's a choice you make. I mean, if you choose not to, God bless you, man. I give you credit if you stop paying them, or stop having them reach into your pockets. I mean, like I said, I mean, I'd rather hear Adam's story. I mean, I could talk forever on this stuff, but Adam, can we talk about the incarceration or like the whole how long you were in prison for? Just what happened to you? Because I don't know if many listeners know the story behind that.
Well, in response to making the YouTube video, my home was raided by more men than they sent after Bin Laden, which is actually the second time they sent that many people after me. The other time was for smoking a joint in front of the White House. And my home was raided, and I was, sat in cuffs on the floor in my kitchen and roughed up a little bit for a few hours, and everyone else in my home was sat down in handcuffs. And I went to jail for about 4 months and spent the first 2 in solitary confinement while being denied bail. It was a pretty clear case of political harassment. One of the judges actually acknowledged eventually, a judge in Virginia, it was actually my last sentencing hearing when I was basically sentenced to 3 months suspended, which is essentially nothing. It's kind of like an implied probation thing, and I'm already on probation from the sentence in D.C. for the felony there. And so I was denied bail for 4 months, and then I was released and really bullied into a corner, and I wanted to take the case to trial, and I was ready to, and I was ready to face the time. But the government made it clear that this was it would have been such a strong narrative against them. They weren't going to let it go to trial, and at least not without a lot of screwing with me and adding on other charges. So I hate to say it, but at some point the potential cost-benefit equation changed for me, and I ended up taking a plea deal. So I got out of jail, and I've been back at it since then. But it was while I was in jail that I came up with the idea for the book, and there have been a lot of attempts at writing similar outreach and conversion tools, but they were all missing essential features. And I know this from my experience, not just in the movement, but actually going out and talking to people. And it's cool that you can do a survey of all of the literature of the movement and see what's been written, what's been tried, and what hasn't. And this book has a lot of really important features. I mentioned that we sold out of our first print run of 5,000 copies. Sounds great. Not a big deal in comparison to the fact that we've had at least 200,000 downloads online of the ebook, either as an audiobook or a PDF. And people are using this as an effective outreach tool because it's non-judgmental. There's no conjecture, no opinion, no historical references to debate. It simply lays out the facts. It's not Amerocentric. It's about the global phenomenon of statism and modern governments. And, if nothing else, it was all worth it for that. But I refer to my time in jail as my government-induced, taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat. And I really did take it as an enjoyable challenge.
So, Adam, were you in federal prison?
I was not. I was in a federal prison in Philadelphia, actually, in May of that year when I was arrested at a marijuana rally for holding a microphone.
And you were arrested with Don DeZarn, right?
Don DeZarn, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a cop bumped into me while going to arrest someone else who was smoking pot, and for that I was guilty of assault. And that was a case where I was able to play hardball in jail, and I refused the conditions of bail and stayed in jail, and they dropped the charges the next day.
Wow,
which was a really cool feat. I played that one really well, or that went really well in that sense. The next one, not as well by comparison. But I did the first 2.5 weeks in jail in Virginia, in Fairfax County, and then I was in D.C. jail for solitary, and that was interesting. Technically, it's not a federal facility. And then
was it county?
To the private jail there.
Was it private or county?
It's D.C. It's a district jail. It's in that sense legally unique.
It's every jurisdiction, right? You have to break this down to how it is broken down from an accounting standpoint. Like every piece of land is separated so that one person pretty much has power over it. That's basically called the jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So for Adam, it was Virginia had jurisdiction because that's where his house was. D.C. had jurisdiction when he went to D.C. With the shotgun. And when I say this, when Adam went to D.C. with a shotgun, just stating that fact for listeners, he just went to prove his right that his Second Amendment rights are always with him, never taken away by anyone.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm a U.S. Marine. I fought in Fallujah. This is my right. This is not just my right. This is any individual's right in society. And then they imprisoned him.
Yeah, wow.
And it's me. When I talked to Adam on the phone a while back, I said he's the first American that I know is a POW from his own country.
Wow.
His own country put him in a prison to keep him from the people. Because I think Adam's message, I mean, I've listened to him for a long time, has always been on point about freedom. I mean, he fought for it as a Marine. So.
Hey, Adam.
Well, I thought I was. I wasn't actually. But on that note, if I may, I'd like to point out that I'm also a member of a very small club of people who have both tortured on behalf of this government and been tortured by it. As the first several days I was in jail in Fairfax County, I was put in a unique kind of solitary confinement isolation.
Hey, Adam, there's a question from, I think it's Donnie from Australia. He has a question asking if you believe the NWO is doing this.
Well, if you're saying that the New World Order, then you're getting into, you have to define that first. And I think that there is, I define the new, like for me, if I use the term the New World Order, I don't think that that's even a specific group of people or a specific plan. You could say it's the specific group of people that is the several thousand richest in the world that are the most powerful, and that the general plan is to continue to consolidate power. In a sense, all of the friggery that is conducted in the world through government is the responsibility of these people. And I don't think there's any group calling themselves the New World Order. Obviously, when George W. Bush or George H.W. Bush says New World Order, it means something different than when David Cameron says New World Order. So are they behind it? If you define it the way that I do, absolutely. And by that sense, they're behind everything that government does. And it's a matter of varying degrees of deliberateness. But, is the New World Order behind, the welfare state? Yes, because they acknowledge that if the government, in order to get away with what they get away with, they have to let government pretend that it exists to help people. So, yeah, of course, they're behind everything.
Yeah. Adam, I'll ask you a question. When your house, you got raided in Virginia, what was it like? Was it, were you laying down sleeping in your room? I mean, were you cooking dinner? What happened? Was there a knock on the door, knock on the window? Did you see what happened? I mean, what was, tell us the first step.
I get into that. It was because it is a pretty interesting story. It was about dusk, and I had done my show, and I was laying down to take a nap for the evening or for the afternoon. I was pretty exhausted. And there was a knock on the door, like a bang, and I knew right away what it was, but it was a loud bang, and someone said, "Police, open up," and so I jumped up, and, in 10 seconds, not even, I had my shorts on, and I was standing at the top of the stairs, and was there just in time to see the door fling open. And they threw in a flashbang grenade that landed right at my dog's butt because he was going towards the door when he heard this. And I'm really grateful that they did this because they came in with a dog. Like, they came in leading with a dog, and you know what they do in those situations. They treat your dog as property, and if your property is the threat, they
didn't
destroy
shoot the dog,
it. They kill the dog.
Did they kill the dog?
I was freaked out.
No,
I was lucky. They didn't because they threw a flashbang grenade at him first. And so he was running away, and he ran up to his bed and hid in his crate. And then we closed the door on him. But then, I was there at the top of the stairs. Flashbang grenade went off, and they had laser sights, and it was full on, like scary SWAT raid, like exactly what pretty much the worst of what you would expect.
Like what you see on television.
Brutality. There was, I guess, a little bit, but my house was torn up inside out. They destroyed my safes. They destroyed a lot of property. They stole a few $1,000s worth of silver. Although I had employees that were stealing from me later, which really was worse. So I can't say for certain who was behind what, but they admitted to stealing a big pile of guns of mine and a bunch of other personal property. And there's some stuff that They didn't admit to stealing in their police report that was missing, so it's
Now-
kind of hard to say where everything went. But I was separated from everybody else in the house because I was sort of encouraging everybody to resist and make themselves, a pain in the butt. So I got pulled over to the kitchen when everybody else was in a side bedroom, and got roughed up a little bit in the process. Nothing serious. And then I got taken away in a squad car, and they let everyone else go.
Now, who was this, Adam? Was it the was it the FBI? Was it the state police? Who were the ones that came in?
It was several agencies, but it was led by the United States Park Police. And the helicopters, they had 2 helicopters and an armored vehicle, were from the Park Police. And I think it's because they have a sort of, I want to say, I never set out to have a rivalry with the United States Park Police. They are the dregs of the federal law enforcement bureau. These are FBI Academy rejects, mostly. Or at least the ones that are in D.C. There are park police who actually want to go out and police parks, natural resources and monuments, and go and preserve Americans' ability to go enjoy those things. But the ones that are patrolling in D.C. really are, wannabe FBI agents. And so they needed an excuse to justify their budget and all this crazy equipment that they had, because normally they're just the people that put away protesters.
Hey,
So,
Adam, do you know what the funding is to the Park Police after this? Have you?
Too much.
Too much funding.
Too much. I don't know.
I mean, any more than $1 is too much.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah.
Because there is a legitimate function behind the Park Police overall as an institution. If you think that there should be natural resources in America that are preserved as such, I mean, obviously it shouldn't be done by government. We shouldn't trust government with any of this. But there is a legitimate purpose to patrolling and ensuring public safety in those public spaces or in those natural spaces. So I wouldn't say it's all purely a waste in that sense. It's just done wastefully, and then the consequences that you get these jackboots that basically put down protesters for a living.
Well, that's really the funny part of it, is that you think of this is Joe, the park police as being people who work outdoors, protecting against litter bugs and all the things that go on out there. And why do the outdoor people need to bust into your house? They should be policing the outdoors, which is also why you think, why are they heavily armed? Why is the post office heavily armed? Why is the EPA heavily armed?
Yeah,
IRS.
The IRS heavily armed.
I mean, that's one of the strangest things and also funniest things. The park police buses in your house, raids. Throw a grenade, percussion, right? And I mean, and really, it's just the park police.
Right, we think of Yogi Bear and Granger Smith. He was not heavily armed, as far as I know.
I mean, I made a lot of videos just sort of incidentally by going out to the White House to do man-on-the-street interviews, where we're going out in D.C. covering protests where park police have challenged my fundamental right to film. And I put a lot of them in their places, and I've talked a lot of trash. I mean, I even got in one's face when he was trying to tell me I had no right to film somewhere, and get to the point where I was asking him, well, hey, why are you shaking? Because he was so visibly intimidated by me confronting him this way. And in Philly, it's park police, and they're the ones that I guess tried to set me up with the arrest in Philly, and thought that they could really get me on an assault charge as a federal assault on a federal law enforcement officer. And when they couldn't get it to stick, and I sort of outmaneuvered them there, they were pretty upset. But then, I mean, I did take it a little too far. At one point, there was a line of riot cops at one of these protests in Philadelphia who were all standing there with their batons and their riot gear and shields and stuff. And I just went up to them, like, one at a time. Hey, nice baton. Sorry about your penis.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think they took too kindly to that, and that there was some personal motivation in the way that this raid was carried out and how my case was handled in general. And also that it resulted in me being banned from D.C. for 2 years. But we're going to go back. We're going to have some fun January 17th of 2016.
Wow, I like that.
Let's get that out. January 17th, 2016, you are welcome back to D.C.?
Right. That's 2 years of probation with a 2-year sentence basically hanging over my head.
Hey,
Wow.
do you think we can bring
a
welcoming parade?
Go back to jail.
Yeah.
we can bring all our friends, Adam, down there that actually do radio shows?
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. You
Can
know, hey, Adam, you know, you've been to jail, I've been to jail. You banned from D.C., I'm banned from Princeton University. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Well,
I think I'm gonna try
persona
to do
non
something,
grata.
you know, really awesome as the most powerful act of civil disobedience we possibly can when we go back to D.C. and it'll be around that time. So stay tuned for that.
All right.
Well, as soon as you have the idea, let me know. I mean, I'll pass that information on. It's like I said, Adam. I'm glad you called in so that we can interview you as opposed to me watching all you interviewing others. So, we're gonna go for a station break.
Yeah, I think we're due for a station break. Hold on, Adam. We'll be right back. This is OnFire Show, HamiltonRadio.net.
Chat room.
Chat room.
Go to the chat room.
That's right. Go to the chat room, and we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Nothing could be finer than to sell more cotton and peanuts to international markets like Cuba. But Cubans can't buy your products because our politicians won't let them sell their sugar here. In fact, Americans pay 5 times the world price on sugar. If you think that protective tariffs make no sense, then you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. The information's free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle. Jim McCann, no holds barred. Right here on HamiltonRadio.net. Catch it at 8 p.m. on Saturday over on HamiltonRadio.net.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, you're back with OnFire Show. You know, I guess Adam Kokesh. Hey, Adam, how you doing? Adam, join the club. You're banned. I'm banned. We all banned. Neil's going to be banned soon. One day you're going to hit Jim.
We're playing in the band.
Yeah, you're going to be banned. For real, Neil, you're on the verge.
I'm not. No, I'm not.
It's going to be bad. You're going to be sad when you get that letter from persona non grata.
No,
That should be
no,
you just start our own like hip hop band, PNG,
Yeah.
persona non grata.
Yeah.
I mean, I do so much stuff around the community. I mean, I'm a wrestling coach. I'm on the board of ed. I'm treasurer of the baseball league. I mean, I give a lot of time back to my community because I do believe in a sense of freedom is that your community, wherever you live, is important. So you want to give back as much as you've learned in life.
Right. If they ban you, they'll have to hire people to do all the stuff you're doing, and then they'll just put taxes through the roof.
Yeah. And then they'll make me pay for it. So Adam, are there any other topics you want to hit on? I mean, we can talk about the dancing issue. I mean, you're running for office. Your involvement with the Ron Paul campaign, just how I met you.
Yeah, tell us how you got started. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just.
No, we met at Paul Fest in Tampa, if I recall.
I think I met you. Well, my. No. What happened was you were at Webster Hall, and a friend of mine, Dave Palmieri, just pointed to you and said, "That's the dude, man. You got to meet that dude. He's the most impressive person, being a Marine and now actively involved in fighting." And he said, "You got to watch the Republican convention 2008 when this guy's like on the side of a pole on the upper tier holding a sign, right, Adam?"
Yeah, no, I remember that.
What the sign say? Do you remember?
It said on one side you can't win an occupation because at that point that was still the Republican rhetoric for Iraq. That we're going to win in Iraq. This is like the last chance to win in Iraq. If we elect a Democrat, we're screwed. But we're going to elect a Republican and blah blah blah. And the other side said McCain votes against vets, and as a presidential candidate, it was just one of the most most offensive things to me that he was playing this veterans card and making himself to be the candidate of veterans. And of course, that's totally predictable for the Republicans, whoever they are. But that, he actually had the worst record on veterans issues in Congress, the House and the Senate, in terms of, his ratings. And it was actually near the bottom or at the bottom of all the ranking systems that are put together by different veterans groups. Like there was ours for Iraq Veterans Against the War, for Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, for Vietnam Veterans of America. Excuse me. From like the even just the totally mainstream service organizations like Veterans of Foreign Wars and things like this, they do their thing, and by their standards, John McCain had like the worst voting record on vets. So that's one of the things I want to call him out on. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're responsible for Obama being president," and took shaved a couple points off his convention bump, blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. If I had the chance, I would have done it for Obama, and I ended up getting to do it at his inauguration in January. So I'm an equal opportunity anti-statist.
Hey, there's a question from the guest, the chat room. It said, what do you think about the ISIS killing of the Jordanian pilot?
It was good theater, from what I saw. But I mean, I don't have any other. Why would I have any other particular reaction to this? I don't think that. It's just. It's a mess. It's a predictable consequence of American intervention that ISIS exists. It's a deliberate creation of the New World Order, if you will. Those really pulling the strings behind the Western powers, at least. So it's like, it's gruesome, and it's just another tragic consequence of this. But I'm not going to feel sorry for someone who signed up to kill for politicians in the first place, or in his case, worse, I guess, to kill for the King of Jordan.
Right. Well, I mean, Adam, and then how'd you get involved? Like Nathan Cox told us a story about when. And I'm sorry to jump from ISIS to this, but I have a few more minutes with you, and I'm trying to get questions I've always wanted to ask you. Nathan talked about his apathy was awakened when he was serving also in Iraq. Like, how about you? Where did it all start?
Yeah, well, this is why I'm really passionate about making sure that people understand freedom. Because I called myself a libertarian in high school and said, yeah, of course I believe in freedom, and I didn't really understand it. I had the Libertarian Party watered-down Koch brothers version of the message, and it didn't prevent me from joining the military, which is really important. And I really was just a libertarian because, leave me alone. Okay, yeah, I was like a punk kid. But it was when I was in Iraq Veterans Against the War, and I was talking to other anti-war vets who I knew were good dudes, who were well-intentioned, who were risking their lives every day in their anti-war activism, literally in a sense, because back then people were really rabidly pro-war still, but also directly in getting arrested in some of the confrontations with police that happened with our activism. And in these conversations, it came down to like matters of opinion. And as a libertarian, I knew I was right about everything. I just had to prove it. And so that led me really to want to take the opinions out of my arguments, to have airtight reasoning, to say, no, this is, if you really believe in this, if you really want children to be educated, if you really want people to be fed, if you really want people to be happy, if you really want peace, this is the objective answer to these questions. And that led me down the philosophical rabbit hole to the point where I'm at now. And if I may, just to end on this, I really want to say this. This all goes into the book, and why it's so important for people to get this. I think people who read the book will never join the military. They'll never take government jobs, and it's a very powerful way to give people that message. The ultimate red pill, the opposite of the Communist Manifesto, as concisely as possible. And when people ask me, what can I do to get involved? What can I do to get started? It's read this book and share this message. And if you can't think of something more effective or more efficient, please just do this. Just get one person. And if you can't wake people up, then what the heck are you doing as an activist? If you can't say, yeah, I woke this person up today, I changed this person's mind, I had a positive impact on someone. And because the book's only 100 pages, it's a 3-hour audiobook, it's open source, it's free online in every format possible, then there's no reason that you can't use this as a tool and use it to start a conversation that matters. And that's what I really want to ask everyone to do, is to think about what wakes people up, how to actually connect with other people, and by doing so, move humanity forward.
Yeah, and when you say waking people up, I mean, as a CPA, I always say it's when your mind's ready to choose that option, or you are ready to choose that option, you will. A lot of people, I think, fight that because they are afraid. And I think the fear, I mean, the stuff that you've done, Adam, I mean, you have the biggest balls I've ever met in terms of.
I think, hold on, if I may, I think what you just said is an excuse that a lot of people use to avoid talking to their family members and their neighbors. Oh, well, they'll come around with a ready. You know what? That's BS. You go out, you talk to people. Everybody is ready to move somehow in the direction of thinking towards a more moral worldview, a more honest, a more truthful argument. And I think that's what it takes, is to have that courage to go out and just say, you know what, I can talk to everyone. You know, what are you doing standing on a street corner when your family thinks you're crazy because they don't understand why you're out there? You haven't even taken the time to explain to them why you would be out there.
Yeah, you're definitely right.
The people who you love first. Talk to the people close to you. If you can't convince them to stop using or supporting the state's force being used against you, then then you see like how much work we have to do.
Yeah, Adam, you're definitely right. One of the things as an activist, a lot of people don't understand. I've been an activist for over 21, 22 years. And a lot of people don't understand the sacrifice that activists go through, whether it was city activists, state activists, federal activists, freedom, liberty activists, and the problems that society had, the problems that we had to deal with society, whether it's prisons, get scrutiny by the press, lied to, going out there, and it's really a thing that's a big sacrifice that a lot of us, has to deal with.
Hold on. I got to say something there, because that's really negative and discouraging compared to a more honest way of looking at it. I don't mean to say that you're trying to be dishonest, but the framework of sacrifice, there's really no such thing. You might sacrifice one thing for another, but in terms of choosing a lifestyle or an individual decision, you're never sacrificing for others, even if it's to help others. It's for your own worldview. I don't want to say, oh, people don't get the sacrifice that we make as activists, and they should be more appreciative. No, people don't get the joy that we get as activists. People don't understand that this is a beautiful trade-off. That we might sacrifice, acceptance by the mainstream. We might sacrifice some of the conveniences of modern life. In exchange, we get the incredible satisfaction of a purpose in life and knowing that what we're doing is moving humanity forward rather than holding it back. It's not a sacrifice; it's a trade-off. I think it's a great trade. I wouldn't go back in a heartbeat. I wouldn't go back, for anything.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying, and like when I say sacrifice, you have children, you have family members that really need the support, and that's one of the.
Well, I should jump in because I could say in one sense they don't need your support. I mean, and individuals in themselves should be able to survive on their own. And I could talk about chickens if I wanted to about that. The survival.
When you have children, the sacrifice you make. Not being there, with your children, your wife, your family members that were, they make some sacrifices.
But at the same time, you don't know what the next day of life is going to be. You could be gone because you got hit by a car tomorrow. But I get.
Even there, I don't buy the sacrifice construct because, you're trying to say it's about sacrificing time with your kids, but if you have the choice and when you understand it this way. And you go, well, gee, I could spend all my time with my kids and, not do anything to make sure that the world they grow up in isn't a total crap hole. But instead, I'm going to make the trade-off and say, you know what, I'm going to spend a little less time directly with them and spend a little time, just making sure that I'm doing my part to make the world a better place.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I don't think that's a sacrifice still.
I was watching the movie came out about Selma and King. And, the time he spent away from his family, but also he changed society, him and the civil rights movement. So that, that was...
Hold on. Just to make sure we've got the historical narrative straight, when they were talking about him spending time away from his family, did they mention all the women he was cheating on his wife with?
Huh? Well, I guess he did the same as John F. Kennedy. John F.
Yep.
Kennedy. Yeah, so go ahead.
We have actually, Adam, I know you got to run, so just one last question from the chat room.
Sure.
The Chicken Man who signed onto the chat room, he's wondering if the people that arrested you acted as if it was you versus them, or were they just doing their jobs and treated you with respect?
Oh, man, that's kind of a false either or. They might have thought they were just doing their jobs and, by disrespecting me. I think there were some. There were certainly, if I may try to answer the question this way, there were some that had a more professional attitude than others who were there to do their jobs properly because they thought that doing their jobs was a moral thing. Of course, they're wrong. But then there were those who were more, well, screw this, I'm here, I'm going to take advantage of it for personal, emotional gratification by, screwing with this guy.
Yeah, and one he followed up with, are they, quote, the man, and you are just the subject of the kingdom?
In their minds, perhaps.
Do you want to have any last comment, Adam? I know you have to run, so do you have any last comment, and then we'll go to commercial break?
Just go to thefreedomline.com, get the book, and take it in, see what it can do for you.
Okay, and we'd like to thank you for coming on the show, and we'd definitely like to have you on again. And it's been a great joy of listening on someone who's been fighting for freedom and liberty. Adam.
Yeah,
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Adam, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And remember, when you come to Jersey, let me know in advance. We'll start promotion for you. All right?
Absolutely appreciate it.
This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net, and I'd like to thank all our listeners for listening, and we'll be right back. We're going into a station break.
We'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Meet Glenn Kelly.
You can see there are hardwood floors throughout the home. Is that Glenn Kelly? Hey, Glenn.
Glenn is broker of record of Glenn Kelly Real Estate. Glenn's experience and determination makes him a top-producing realtor year after year. Whether residential or commercial, buying or selling, there's no one like Glenn Kelly.
I'm Glenn Kelly, and I want to be your realtor.
If you want whole foods and more natural products while making your family healthier, visit 2285475.myforevergreen.org. That's 2285475.myforevergreen.org. Do it today.
Congress is considering more gun legislation. In all the debate, they continue to ignore the fact that states allowing citizens to carry handguns have a 24% lower violent crime rate. If you believe that the right to self-defense is important to our freedom, then you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. That's 1-800-ELECT-US. The information is free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle.
So much music in one place.
Station's getting better and better.
It always has exactly what I want to hear.
No wonder we're #1 in Hamilton and New Jersey.
A new advanced gym just opened right here in Hamilton, New Jersey. Primal Gym, New Jersey. They feature martial arts, combat sports, youth programs, strength and fitness, and private intense training. Primal Gym. Learn how to protect yourself in self-defense. Primal Gym is located at 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Again, that's 2103 White Horse Mercerville Road, Hamilton, New Jersey, 08619. Call them at 609-736-2307. Again, that's Primal Gym, New Jersey, PRIMALGYMNJ.com. Training everyday people to be champions.
to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, back with HamiltonRadio.net, and we'd like to thank Adam Kokesh for coming on the show, and the great chat room and talk and conversation that's going on in the chat room. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's great. It's we have the now users registered now, so we got the Chicken Man, is one guy.
He's everywhere.
We got Francisco de Cogna.
Oh wow!
Francisco de Cogna actually is a character.
Sicily?
No, Francisco is a South American. And he's a character in the Atlas Shrugged books.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Wow.
So
that is the most
it's a guy
interesting man in the world.
as Francisco de Cogna. And of course he's South American. It's great. Great guy. He blows up his copper mines. You got to watch that movie. We did that show January 5th, which can be heard where? Joe?
It can be heard at HamiltonRadio.net and the stream there. It can be heard on iTunes. It can be heard on Stitcher. It can be heard on Blogger. It can be heard on Podcast and on YouTube. Just search for the OnFire Radio Show, and then you'll see our lovely faces. And stop right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we have of course Steve from Virginia. And, of course, many other guests. Actually, most excitingly is a guy from Australia, listening to three guys from Jersey.
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
There's some shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah,
that's all.
One of the things I wanted to say earlier, we were talking about as activists, you make sacrifices. Definitely you make them sacrifices when you especially have a family, you have children, some may have wives, some have kids, and you're going out fighting for freedom, and basically your kids and your wife would miss you, and watching them grow and to develop. But it's about freedom. One of the things that Joe was saying after the station break was who was
the movie John Adams, which illustrated that perfectly too. I mean, his wife was certainly not happy with British governance, and she wanted to see them gone too, but it did make a major impact on their life. And, he loved her. He did sacrifice time away from her.
Yeah.
She had to raise children without him under, severe conditions. You look at those children, most of them, other than the one who became president, and him too, they were all pretty screwed up growing up without their father. So there are sacrifices. And sacrifice is actually an important concept, because even the whole capitalist system is based on sacrifice, because what you do in capitalism is you sacrifice consumption now. You sacrifice current pleasure for future gain. And that doesn't mean, as Adam was saying, that what you're doing is not for a great thing and there's going to be hopefully a payout at the end, but there still has to be a foregoing of current pleasure of some sort in order to come out to a greater good at the end. Same thing with sports training, everything else.
Yeah.
You sacrifice, you train hard, you feel good about that, but you could have been out doing some things that you might have enjoyed doing.
I mean, if you look what happened to Martin Luther King and the time he spent on the road and all over the country protesting and marching, and his wife had 4 children. And, one of the things, and one of the things is that, the children wanted their father around, and King couldn't be there because he was being asked to speak all over the country, in the South and the North and, Chicago. And so it's one of those things where he definitely, when he came home to his family, he spent a lot of time with his family. He didn't go out working. He didn't go out playing, having fun. After he protested, he came back home to his family and spent time with his kids, because it's about, one of the things, you watch the movie, and you understand his life and read some of his books. He's under a lot of stress, and I can understand that stress. And when he's when he needs his children around, because his children and wife brings joy to him, and that's why when he came home, all his time was at his house.
Right, and I don't want to, Adam is doing a great job fighting for liberty, so I don't want to let this digression on the semantics of what he's talking about detract from that. But nothing great comes easy, and whatever you call it, that requires dedication, that requires hard work, that requires sacrifice. It requires a price to be paid. There's the bumper sticker that's out there that freedom's not free, and it's a little bit of a cliche that kind of means we need to go to war. Not necessarily need to go to a war across the pond, but freedom is certainly not free because it does take putting yourself out there, even as Neil does. Being a pain in the butt to the local jurists and everybody else.
I can't. I have to say, I have to jump in here with you talking about my actions. Mm-hmm. So, I really believe that every individual has a right to do what they want as long as they don't harm another individual's life, harm their property, or anything involved with essentially the hard work that someone works for and gets. As long as that person is willing to hand that object over to someone else, if it's stolen from you, damn right it's a breaking law.
We got a caller.
We got a caller.
All right. Hold on.
It's George Hathaway.
Hello, Mr. Hathaway.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. Thanks for calling. It's one of our great patriots, and Mr. George Hathaway.
Happy New Year, George.
Happy New Year. We haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, it has been. Happy New Year.
One of the things I wanted you to talk about is also the passing of one of our great patriots. You know who he is, right?
Oh yeah, Dan.
Dan Haggerty. Yeah, Dan Haggerty, patriot. Tea Party guy.
From Jersey?
Yeah, from Jersey. He died last week. What was it? I think last week, and they said possibly had a heart attack. And he died day after his birthday.
He was out shoveling snow.
Yeah.
And didn't make it through the shoveling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good man. I mean, he was really there from the beginning. He did a lot to record a lot of activities. I know when I escorted Trevor Loudon around the state, he was there to record that, posted it to YouTube. If you recall, there was a video that was posted of Bill Ayers talking up at Montclair State.
Yeah.
Where he admitted to writing Obama's book. He was the one who recorded that. So he did a lot of that kind of stuff. Always did it for free. Always did it willingly. And I think made a very significant contribution to the country and certainly to the conservative organizations in New Jersey. He'll be missed. It's a big loss, and he touched a lot of people, and a lot of people are sad at his passing. It's too bad. I mean,
right.
He was not old. He's not an old geezer like I am. So he had a few years ahead of him.
Oh, okay. Yeah. One of the things about Haggerty is that he spoke his mind, and he was an independent thinker. And it was really, you don't have a lot of those.
No. He was his own person.
Yeah.
And I wish we could get some people like that amongst our politicians. Maybe, certainly we need them in New Jersey. I don't know if we'll ever get them, but we certainly need them.
Yeah. Are you from South? Where are you from, George?
I'm from Somerset, right in the heart of the state.
He's right in the heart.
Have I ever met you, George? This is Neil.
Yeah, you've met him at Restoring Freedoms. He was he wore the hat, the cowboy hat. No, it's not a cowboy hat. It's a what kind of hat you have, George?
It's like a brown hat, right?
Brown hat, yeah.
The brown hat,
yeah, the brown hat.
Kind of with a brim that goes all the way around. Not an Indiana Jones hat, but some people.
No, it's the Australian. Who was the guy? He died. He was
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, Crocodile Dundee hat.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Crocodile. What was it? Crocodile Dundee hat you have?
Yeah. Kind of. That's how people recognize me.
Yeah, as Mr. Hathaway did. I'm glad you called. One of the things that was going on in the news today is the Jordanian
pilot, right?
Yeah, pilot that was burnt alive, and actually people actually thought he was alive, and really they burned him alive on January 3rd. What's your opinion?
Yeah, and the whole business of trying to break that woman out of jail was a whole sham.
Yeah.
She's probably dead by now.
They burnt him alive?
Yeah, they burnt him alive. They stuck him in a cage.
They put him in a cage, doused him in gasoline, and burned him.
And that's a government agency doing that to them. The people that are, quote, the government.
It's ISIS that did it to him.
ISIS.
And again, we had a discussion back. I don't watch much news, George, because I'd rather just live my life and be free. And all the news just makes me nuttier. So ISIS, isn't that a government agency or an agency being formed that's going to try to control the environment of their method?
What's a
or their
caliphate?
thought?
Oh,
The caliphate.
It's a Muslim organization that is taking parts of Syria and parts of Iraq by force, and they're trying to create a caliphate. And they're killing anybody that's in their way. They're killing all the Christians. They're killing all the Shiite Muslims. They're killing anybody who's in the way.
Yeah. Now,
so it's a religious war,
and
essentially.
they're not necessarily the people they're killing are not they're not soldiers. I mean, they're civilians.
Yeah.
Well, according to Wikipedia, caliphate is a form of Islamic government led by a caliph, a person considered a political and religious successor to the Prophet Muhammad and a leader of the entire Muslim community. It is a government entity.
And that's what they claim to be. And their leader has named himself the Caliph of the Islamic State.
Now, are they trying to start back the Ottoman Empire, basically over again?
Well, no, the Ottoman Empire was really that was a caliphate, but I mean it was really limited to the Middle East. It was Turkey, and at one point extended into parts of Eastern Europe and then into Egypt.
But was that
This one has designs in the world because Al Qaeda organizations or Muslim Brotherhood organizations in Egypt, in Libya, in Africa, Central Africa, Boko Haram, in the Sinai, and in several other places. Actually, in some of the Asian countries, southern Philippines, for instance, have all sworn allegiance to that caliph. Now,
was that the last? But the question was the last caliph? Was the last caliph they had was the Ottoman Empire? We had one religious leader running the whole Islamic nations.
Yeah, certainly in that region. I mean, they also had there were other religious states that had been set up elsewhere, but that was the Ottoman Empire was the big one. And of course, when Europe divided up the whole Middle East after World War I, it's really what created it was the genesis of a lot of this problem, because those borders were all Iraq and Syria and Lebanon and Saudi Arabia and Yemen were all artificial boundaries that were superimposed over tribal and religious sects, and now it's kind of that's all disappearing. Libya was the same thing. That's all disappearing and reverting back to tribalism or anarchy, and the anarchy is being filled by these terrorist groups like ISIS.
Oh wow!
So they're setting up their own caliphate. The problem is they're not limiting it. They don't. Their limitations are not to the geographic area that they now have, which is a large part of the Iraqi desert, some Iraqi cities, a large portion of Syria. All right, and because they are trying to migrate, and other organizations have sworn fealty to ISIS. Their objective is to their stated objective is world domination. Their stated strategy is get Israel, get the United States, and then the rest will be ours.
And because they're the beheading of also the Japanese, I guess it was a news reporter, and what happened in the Jordanian and pilot. What do you think are they trying to do? Are they trying to lure Japan and Jordanian into war with ISIS, or what do you believe that's happening?
That's an interesting thing. Well, the thing you have to realize now is that they've pretty much organized themselves within a geographic area, and I think what they're doing now is consolidating their position, consolidating their borders, and beginning to go after the next target, which is Israel. If you look at a map, the way to Israel is two ways. One is through Syria and Lebanon, and the other is through Jordan. Okay, they've got most of Syria and part of Lebanon. Now they're attacking Jordan, and I think Daryl, you're right. I think what their motivation is with Jordan is to get Jordan into the fight with the hopes that Jordan will collapse into its own tribal problems, which will enable them as a military force to move through and attack the great Satan, or the little Satan.
Yes, which is
the question is whether what Jordan will do. I mean, the king is apparently really pissed off.
How much
Jordan
power do they have?
Easily the largest, the best equipped and best trained military in the area, except for Turkey.
Okay.
But Jordan has like 1 million Palestinian refugees there, or refugees from Iraq. The demographics consist of several large tribes, some of whom don't like the king very much.
Yeah.
And the military is primarily Bedouin, and the king is not a Bedouin. They're loyal to their own group. So the question is, can he marshal those resources to go into Iraq, or go into what used to be Iraq, and attack ISIS? Now, that's a big question. So can he do that? Now, if he can do it, they might have the military force to cause ISIS to collapse. I mean, ISIS is not a country yet. They're generating revenue through, pirated oil and, bank robberies and stuff like that. They have a lot of modern military equipment, not an awful lot of training.
Mm-hmm.
Just better than the Iraqi army, and the Iraqi army was. So a good military, like the Jordanians, if they can hold together, might cause them to collapse. And if they start losing, then the tribes in Iraq and Syria might assert themselves and then get rid of the leaders, and then the caliphate is no more. But what then happens, though, is Iraq and Syria become like Libya is, which is basically no man's land.
So it'll be tribal leadership.
Yeah, it becomes basically a tribal area, and the local sheikhs are in charge, and you'll probably get a warlord or two.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess is we'll probably have to live with that, and then live with that unless they start forming another terrorist base, unless Al Qaeda decides they want to park there and start making bombs and stuff like that.
Hey George,
but they might have bitten off more than they can chew with the Jordanians if the king can get everybody working together.
Yeah.
Here's the other problem with Jordan. Okay, Jordan doesn't have any oil of its own, and it doesn't have a ready supply of fuel, and it doesn't have a lot of money. So the question is, if they want to engage in a military operation outside their borders, where do they get the fuel, and where do they get the money to buy the fuel?
Hey, George, Neil want to ask you a question.
Yeah, George, I could say I don't follow much about ISIS in the Middle East because I prefer just to focus on my family now, and so when I hear stories like this, I'm just a third party looking into a theater act, and kind of looking at and saying, if it's, it is so far away from America, the idea of what's happening, the fundamental idea of our country is freedom, and even if the caliphate grows to a certain level out there, and when I say out there, it's a far distance from where we live. If we didn't have the technologies today, or even if you go back in time, you wouldn't even know about this thing going on. I mean, it's not even a thought that would be put into your head of this craziness of ISIS and this Jordanian pilots being lit on fire. But I mean, and again, because I'm unaware of that stuff because I'm focused on local issues.
Where were you on 9/11?
9/11, I was right across the river in Hoboken on the pier, watching the tower burn. I got
watching it fall. Yeah, I was about 4 blocks from there.
Wow.
Yeah. So
question is, do you want that to happen again or not?
Well, I don't hold a grudge. I try not to hold a grudge because yes, bad things happen in this world, but I'd prefer to say 99.9%.
It's not a matter of a grudge. It's a matter of protecting ourselves. And the question is, if they have stated explicitly that they're coming after us.
Yeah.
Right. Now the question is, do we let them? I would personally be perfectly willing to let them stay where they are, do their own thing, knock their own people off, fight amongst each other, as long as we can be assured that they don't have the ability to come after us.
I could jokingly say people outside America probably look at us and say we keep fighting back and forth. The Democrats and Republicans, we make nonsense. We keep spending money that doesn't even exist.
We don't cut each other's heads off.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, if people who live in the Middle East who've had their families droned say they keep on coming after us. How do we prevent them from coming after us?
Yeah. Well, hey George, we got to go to a station break. We'll be right back. I want to ask you this question, George, and you can answer when we get off the station break. Do you believe that there's ISIS cells right now in America? We'll be right back. This is OnFire Show.
We'll be right back. This is the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Nothing could be finer than to sell more cotton and peanuts to international markets like Cuba. But Cubans can't buy your products because our politicians won't let them sell their sugar here. In fact, Americans pay 5 times the world price on sugar. If you think that protective tariffs make no sense, then you just might be a libertarian. To find out, call 1-800-ELECT-US and ask for a free information packet. The information's free. Your freedom is priceless.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle.
If you want whole foods and more natural products while making your family healthier, visit 2285475.myforevergreen.org. That's 2285475.myforevergreen.org. Do it today.
Call Andrew Martino, Farmers Insurance, for all your insurance needs. Mr. Martino will give you the professionalism you expect from an experienced insurance agency. With Farmers Insurance, you will get the maximum coverage at competitive pricing. For a quick quote, contact Andrew Martino at 609-256-3364. 609-256-3364. Email Andrew at andrew.albright@farmersagency.com. That's ANDREW.ALBRIGHT@farmersagency.com. And Facebook, Andrew at Andrew Martino of Farmers. That's ANDREWMARTINO of Farmers. Mention this ad to Andrew to let him know you heard this right here on HamiltonRadio.net.
I love it.
New Jersey's favorite hits every day on Hamilton Radio.
Better than any other station.
Welcome back to the OnFire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, you're back with OnFire Show. We're with HamiltonRadio.net. One of the things that we were talking about, and the chat room, go to the chat room, HamiltonRadio.net, OnFire Show. One of the things I asked George Hathaway, he's a great correspondent, international guy. He knows a lot what's happening all over the world. And right here in America, Mr. Hathaway, it's one of the questions, and that was on the OnFire and on the OnFire News Network article, is that people believe that are ISIS cells right here in America, and if there is, what should we do about it, and should we prepare? And if you can answer that question for us, Mr. Hathaway.
Well, in my opinion, I think you say ISIS to me, it's ISIS / Al Qaeda.
Okay.
They're different sides. They're different sides of the same coin. Okay. But the question is, so if we can change the question to is it ISIS Al Qaeda cells in the U.S. Without having any firm data, I do believe that there are. Certainly, we've had people. There are people in the Middle East right now fighting for them who are American citizens who can come back into the United States with little or no trouble.
Mm-hmm.
The country has not done anything to revoke their passports or do anything about their citizenship.
But how cool would it be?
And they're being trained over there.
Hey, George, how cool would it be if people were saying, like, is Neil Schloss in Grand Cayman? Like, are there Neil Schloss cells in Cayman? Like, to me, again, like, individuals are individuals. Like,
but the question is, are there cells in places like Detroit and Dearborn, Patterson, New Jersey? And the cell it only needs to be like 4 or 5 people, and all they need to do, look, you know how easy it would be to create a terrorist plot in the United States? You get a cell in Dearborn, you get 5 people in Dearborn with rifles and handguns, you get 5 people in Patterson and rifles and handguns, and each of those 5 goes to a crowded movie theater. Maybe they're showing American Sniper.
Yeah, but I would just call them pissed off people.
Yeah, I mean,
I would title them pissed off people.
And each one sprays the audience as much as they can with those weapons.
Right. Well, that's the way I look at it. Is we have about 250.
How hard would that? How difficult would that be?
Well, go ahead.
Well, it's not difficult at all. And we have those cells. We have like those pissed off student cells who kill the entire school. We have the neo-Nazi cells who kill people. We have the Klan cells. We've got, as long as you have 2 or more people who hate somebody, they can kill anybody else.
One of the things that our government at different levels need to do is to infiltrate those cells and make sure that they can't carry out on their plans.
No, actually, I think
the other way.
I should say that
they are willing to infiltrate the Klan and some of the right-wing groups. They're totally unwilling at a national level and in some states to do anything about the Muslim cells.
Well, yeah, but then the whole thing becomes like
go into the mosque.
The whole thing becomes preventative justice.
Not collecting any intelligence, so we don't know what the planning is. We're not involved with the planning, and we don't know who they are because of political correctness. We won't go into those places. So, is it possible that they can do a suicide attack with handguns?
Well, hold on, George. Joe want to say something.
Because, what you're saying, yeah, that's true. Then you say, okay, well, then the government can say, geez, I think this guy over here is doing this, and I think that guy, and we're going to penetrate everybody, because that's what we're doing with the NSA, is we're making sure that everybody is being listened to make sure that nothing bad happens. But is that what government's there for, is to anticipate all the crimes?
I hear what you're saying, and I worry about that. I worry about the NSA.
Well, when you say...
and frankly, some good old-fashioned police detective work would probably work an awful lot better.
And George, again,
and judges who believe in the Constitution, and so if the police and the detectives can get these guys in the act or conspiring to blow up a building, or conspiring to shoot up movie theaters, and you bring them before court, you charge them. And you try them, and you take it from there.
Wait, before the crime happens or after?
But that's just good old police work.
Yeah, Mr. Hathaway, the Boston bombing. That was I believe that was an example of what could happen.
Yeah. And those guys were not investigated. They were not thoroughly investigated because the police didn't want to embarrass the Muslims.
I guess they had their own trial. They decided before it went through the proper procedure of law. I mean, in America.
One of us is on trial. We'll see what happens to him.
Yeah, and that terrified a lot of people because one of the things that a lot of people believe, especially Americans, think that we are safe, and we're not safe. When 911 showed you we wasn't safe. Even with the Boston Marathon, the Boston bombing showed that we're a very wide open society.
Fort Hood shooting.
The Fort Hood shooting in Virginia, it's one of those things that as Americans we should definitely investigate. We should definitely look out for these type of things.
I'll tell you.
Joe's having a fit over there.
Oh, yeah.
Joe's making all types of faces.
Yeah, I will tell you right now, we're not safe.
We're not safe.
There's bad drivers out there. There's earthquakes. There's forest fires.
Bad
weather.
Armed and will protect, and that's not going to.
There's criminals.
Hold on, George.
Joe want to say that. Joe.
Repeat that what he said.
I mean, I'm just saying we're not safe from anything.
If they come after me, I'm going to damn well shoot them.
All right, that's what you're supposed to do. Second Amendment.
If I'm in a dark movie theater, they're going to shoot me before I have a time to even see them. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, because you live in Jersey, of course.
You have to be proactive in going after these groups. And frankly, Joe, you're right. I mean, there are other groups in this country as well, but it's the Islamic extremists who are the ones who are willing, who are one, more active, and two, are willing to sacrifice their own lives in order to create these terror.
Well, yeah,
and that aggravates the whole situation because they're not afraid of getting caught.
Yeah, we had a guest. I don't know if you listened to the early part of the show. We had a guest who did some nasty things. He danced like at the Jefferson Memorial. He smoked a joint in Washington, D.C., and the police proactively went after him and broke down the doors in his house. They smashed his head against the hard floor. And, is that where do we draw this line on proactive policing here?
Well, I just got to jump in here. The chat room is definitely having a good conversation. So if you want to join the chat room, go to hamiltonradio.net, click on the HR chat room and the OnFire show.
We're on fire today.
We are on fire.
Definitely on fire today.
With Adam and George.
Yeah.
And if you want to register, please click on register so that you can have your name show up. The chat room is really picking up, which is great to see.
Mr. Hathaway.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, can you talk about, there's a lot of talk about individuals starting, there should be another Christian crusade. Can you talk to us about that? What do you believe about that and the historical parts of the Christian crusades?
Well, I mean, it's nice to talk about, pretty difficult to organize. And here's the reason. First, let's do a crusade. So we have a bunch of people who travel to where the caliphate is, or to one of the borders there, and say, okay, we're going to go. And there's only 30,000 of these guys, so we get 100,000 people all going to Iraq to shoot these ISIS people. They can do that. The trouble is they can't get there with any weapons. These guys have tanks, artillery, helicopters, armored personnel carriers. Anybody who went over there with a crusade like that would be decimated, killed in a hurry. So the question is, how do you go in there with heavy weapons?
Yeah, one of the things is that,
crusade. So it's nice to talk about, but and I would be all in favor of it if you could get some guy with $1 zillion who would be willing to fund a modern army.
Yeah, fund a private military, because there are private militaries out there.
Called a militia.
But on the other hand,
well, no, there's not militias, but we have the American government.
What I have visions of that happening is some of the scenes from Apocalypse Now, where Martin Sheen goes and meets Marlon Brando in the depths of the jungle.
Yes, Kurtz.
Right.
That's great stuff.
Because you get some guy who goes over there and leads a modern army, and then decides to stay and set up his own country.
Yeah. It sounds like the country of New Jersey.
Country of New Jersey.
Yeah.
Some people accuse MacArthur of that.
I mean, we already got a communist government. What else do you want?
Yeah.
Hey, I want to give a shout out. It is the Chicken Man's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
My boy Fred. So I just want to, of course, give him a shout out for his birthday, because before I forget. So.
All right, Mr. Hathaway, we're glad to have you on. You've brought some excitement to the show, and I thank you for coming on.
Okay, look, freedom for all. That's really what we're all after. The question is, how do we get there? and how do we keep it?
We love you, George.
Yeah, we
Peace.
love you.
Freedom
You're
is
great.
the,
You're a great patriot.
freedom is the answer. What's the question?
We're definitely gonna see you. The show will be out Friday on Stitcher, I believe, and on the YouTube.
We'll be up by the end of the week.
We'll be
yep.
up by the end of the week.
And we'll be
right,
keep
good.
an eye on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll be posting it up there as soon as it's ready.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. You're a great patriot.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
And speaking of that, the Libertarian Party, I mean, I appreciate their sponsorship of the show.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think most of these people that are calling in are libertarians and fall under that name.
Well, we want at least people, and I think that's the people we're getting, are people who are thinking, and people who are open-minded, and, we're willing to challenge, people want to have their thought process challenged, and we're willing to have our thought process challenged.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If anybody want to give us a call at 609-800-1003, give us a call at 609-800-1003. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you believe in. And you can get on the show. It's about, being honest and truthful and putting out quality information. And this is the OnFire show.
Having a discussion.
And having a great discussion. We want everybody to go to OnFire News Network, OnFireNN.com. OnFireNN.com.
Buy a coffee mug, right?
Yeah, buy a coffee mug. We have
Support the show.
No one has bought one yet.
If anybody attacks you, throw the coffee mug at them.
On fire.
I can teach you how to be tax exempt also when you guys are ready. So.
Okay, and that's great.
Yeah.
It's exciting. One of the things I'm so excited about is, we have to talk about the what do we got to talk about, Joe?
I don't know.
I'm just messing around.
Talked out.
I'm talked out. It's one of those. It's 10:15. We have 15 minutes to go. But we definitely got the tax day rally and how it's important to speak out on tax day. And one of the things we're going to do a panel on tax day rally. So we're going to do a rally and a panel discussion inside the state senate chambers. Wow.
Will I be part of that?
Yeah, you'll definitely be part of it. Give us a call, 609-800-1003. We're going to talk more about it. We're going to a station break. This is the OnFire News Network with HamiltonRadio.net.
We'll be right back. This is the On Fire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Feeling down, depressed, just don't feel like getting out of the house anymore? Well, do it anyway! Sounds like it's time. Ticketstime.com, that is. Ticketstime.com has tickets for sports, concerts, and theater just waiting for you to buy. Did your favorite concert sell out? We have tickets at Ticketstime.com. Did you miss your favorite team's last game? Don't miss the next one. Log on to Ticketstime.com. Is there a play you've been dying to see but haven't had the time? Well, make the time at Ticketstime.com. Everyone needs some relaxation time, so remember to make some time at Ticketstime.com.
Many products come with disclaimers to warn consumers of possible side effects. What if politicians had to do this?
So vote for your same old politician. Voting for the same politicians may lead to reduced paychecks, headaches, increased pollution, more paperwork, sweaty palms, higher crime, loss in privacy, more corporate and government power, teen drug addiction, and oily discharge.
For candidates with no harmful side effects, vote Libertarian.
Voting Libertarian may lead to more options, safety, and a peaceful society.
Learn more at lp.org or call 1-800-ELECT-US.
NJLP.org is a libertarian party that's for liberty and freedom. To learn more about the New Jersey Libertarian Party and join the fight for liberty, please visit NJLP.org. At NJLP.org website, you can get updated news on what NJLP.org is doing, check for upcoming events near you, and learn how you can help NJLP.org. And again, that's NJLP.org. This ad is paid for by the New Jersey Libertarian Party, the party of principle.
Best hits.
Oh, I love it. I listen to it all the time.
Forgotten hits.
The music is by far the best.
All on one radio station. This is Hamilton Radio.
Welcome back to the On Fire Show on HamiltonRadio.net.
Hey, you're back with On Fire Show. It is about 10:18. We got a few more minutes left to go, but we have Fred the Chicken Man on, right?
Fred the Chicken Man. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Fred.
Happy birthday, Fred.
All right. You make some fried chicken tonight.
Yeah, what'd you have for your birthday?
Thank you very much.
So you got something to say today? What's on your mind?
Called in. I thought you guys had a great program today, and it's funny when you hear Neil speak, and with Neil's professional background being a CPA, but his mindset is he always thinks about things like I just want to be free of outside stress. I don't want to fear the government, and he thinks of things in different terms, and if you think about it, it really makes sense that way. And For instance, with me, a lot of times they call me the chicken man. I try to get a lot of people into birds just because I enjoy them. And I typically don't sell them. I typically give them away to people. And for me, my payment is emotion. I like to see people happy. Mm-hmm. And it's not monetary. It's thinking in a different way. And I think that Neil does a very good job of, trying to express that. And it's kind of funny, being that he's a money man, and that's what he's supposed to think about. But his mindset is very, very different. He just wants to enjoy himself, and I think it's a very wise point of view.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. And when he says that, I mean, my feeling is value for value, and of course there has to be a medium of exchange to make it easy for the users. So money does have a concept, but the dollar bill does not. I mean, money could be anything, and I mean, Fred, of course, is teaching that to me as well. By when I went to his house, my son Parker went to the chicken coop, opened the chicken coop, grabbed 15 eggs, and Fred's like, Neil, you got to incubate these and see what happens, and follow these instructions. And I did, and of course, I mean, conversations that Fred and I have are really on the level of freedom. Like you're exchanging value for value, and not the money side. So I do get that, but of course, most people think that dollar does have significance. But after 20 years involved as a CPA, watching the Federal Reserve print money out of thin air, and then studying all that through Jekyll, the creature from Jekyll Island,
where I've been at. Yeah, I've been to Jekyll Island.
I mean that what's his name wrote.
Yeah.
Who wrote that book?
Joe knows.
I don't know.
Who's the smartest man in the room?
The Creature of Jekyll Island.
The Creature from Jekyll Island. Yeah, somebody can Google that. But
G.
Griffin.
Griffin,
yeah.
Right? G. Griffin.
G. Griffin.
G. Edward Griffin.
G. Edward Griffin.
We worked that out. There we go.
Sorry, guys.
Griffin.
So,
Joe, you're supposed to know that.
That's a lesson. That's a
else.
lesson to people on how money got the creation to where it is right now.
Yeah.
It was like letting the genie out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope, Fred, I appreciate you calling in. I mean, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, not at all. Just I wanted to call in and say thank you. And I thought, again, Adam, what a great, fantastic guest you had on. And his way of thinking, and it's almost like he didn't want to answer the questions when I wrote in. My folks grew up in Nazi Germany, and the stories that he told me about how things happened there when they were children was pretty amazing. When you hear about government entities taking action against people, I was very curious to know if, with the police officers that were arresting him, treating him as if they were the ones that were after him, or were they just doing their jobs? Mm-hmm. But my dad said was these guys that were in charge really felt that they were the guy who was in charge. They had a power trip to themselves, and they really made things bad over there back again, late 30s, early 40s. But it's, it almost makes you fearful that things like that could happen here when people get carried away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the history of Nazi Germany was Hitler was the chancellor. He was in the government, and he proposed the Enabling Act, which was a gun control bill that took guns away from the people, which, of course, if you're disarmed, it's easy to beat someone. It's like, was it Indiana Jones, right? When he pulls the gun out with the guy and just who's doing all those knife moves and then shoots them. I mean, if you disarm everyone, the power of fear and intimidation and threat and coercion are very easy for the government to force down your throats.
Well, we had that. I mean, if you look at one of the presidents, and out of Princeton, he was the president of Princeton University and governor, and then he became president of the United States, was Woodrow Wilson. And one of the things that he came out against was he supported the Volstead Act, which was basically no alcohol. And and that's one of the things is just that whole Volstead Act locked a lot of people up. A lot of people went to jail, and basically that was a progressive type policy. And when you have those type of policies, where you tell people, listen, we're the government, and we say there should be no alcohol.
And what happens is that we're the government.
Yeah.
The government's
know better.
Got millions of people who work for it, and most of them don't think about this too much. I think this is one of the things that really comes out when you listen to Neil's stories, because he always presses the apparatchik, of the government, with philosophical questions, and they're like, no, you owe me money. Yeah. No, you have to pay this.
Yeah. Right,
they don't think about these things. They're told this is what you got to do. And they go home. They're good people, I'm sure, but they know, but he thinks these things. One of the things that Adam, and when you read his, his stuff, is when he went into Washington D.C. with a shotgun. And they said, "What are you doing?" This was, I'm just here. Yeah, you have a permit. He goes, "Yeah, I have a." This is called the Constitution.
Yeah, Second Amendment right.
This is the
to
one
defend myself with arms.
This is
whatever it may be.
This is the permit that I swore to uphold when I took my oath of the Marine Corps.
And that's what progressivism is. Progressivism is the politicians and policy believes that I am government, I can control, I know better. And one of the things, if you look under Woodrow Wilson, the greatest progressive president America's ever had. The things that he did and the policies he brought through in his 2 terms as president of the United States. I mean, what was it? It was prohibition, and he also had...
We had the income tax, had prohibition.
The Volstead Act. I mean, that's
we
the
had
prohibition,
the
Federal Reserve. And also, I mean, it's, and what also happened is, if you look what he did around the world. And, when the League of Nations.
Glass-Steagall Act, right?
Yeah, Glass-Steagall, huh?
Glass-Steagall, right?
That, and what was the other one that brought Hitler into power? That was the Treaty of Versailles. Right. I mean, he supported that, and that brought Germany under depression and bankrupted Germany, and look what happened when they bankrupted Germany, you get a Hitler type.
Everything went wrong with World War I, with our, and we were running out of time on this show, but we had our intervention in a war that was basically stalemated and was going to be negotiated, crushed Germany, created a power vacuum, which opened the world for Nazism, it opened the world for fascism, for communism, destroyed the Ottoman Empire, and we're still living with it today.
We're still living with it. I mean, and that's when you have a progressive policies and progressive politicians, but under Woodrow Wilson, I mean, the things are lasting forever, it seemed like. And these are the things that we should be, people in the society should know about and read about and understand the history of progressivism.
Well, that's why when they look at these things and they say, okay,
how this could happen.
Like think of something like an Obamacare. They said, well, this month things weren't so bad. Mm-hmm. These things take years and generations to work their way through these. It's like a cancer. You have a little spot here, and then it goes along and it metastasizes till it takes over your entire body.
Yeah, and like we talked, the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve under Woodrow Wilson, and you look what it's doing to America right now. The Federal Reserve, look what it's doing to the world.
It's driving us nuts. It's driving me nuts. But at the same time, just to jump back to Fred, since Fred's on the call. Fred, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, you guys started spinning on that one pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Fred.
Doesn't take much for us.
We want to have you on the show. I tell you, got to come with me to the show, Fred. I'll pick you up. We'll drive you here, drive back. You get the 2 hours to just join the conversation, brother, all right? And that's my birthday gift to you.
Fantastic.
All right? Enjoy.
That sounds fantastic.
Enjoy your birthday, buddy.
You guys have a great evening.
All right, take care. And that's one of the things that, we have as a society. And this is what we tell people. You got to understand the history. And the history, if you read your history, you know what the future is going to be like. And if we don't understand what's happening, we can't, understand what happened back then and what's in the framework. I mean, there's a framework that's lasting over 50, 60, 70 years.
And don't put your
politics.
And I should say, for me, I never put my mind that I was part of that issue. I looked at it from the third party looking in to see where the BS was, so that I can pull the real deal out of it. Like, again, killing a human, not in my mindset. Stealing someone's property, not in my mindset. It's simply be free, live free, enjoy life. I mean, and just to quickly jump to the chat room, the Chicken Man, we're still working through with the owners of the company about approving the chicken processing technique that we might teach you guys.
Okay. But it's great. Also I want to talk about with we look at progressivism. One more thing, Common Core. Common Core is progressivism.
Common Core is.
And you look at who's running for president, Jeb Bush, a progressive politician that supports Common Core. That is progressivism.
Big outrage in Jersey about park testing. Edison, New Jersey, I think it's the first town to have an opt-out option for the parents, which is pretty nice. I mean, opting out, giving them an option is better than having no option at all.
Yeah.
To me, when it comes to freedom, and I think the school system does that. They don't give you opt-out options, and I'd love to see Millstone have that opt-out option.
And that's progressivism. I mean, when you look at a governor, he speaks at Princeton University, and Princeton University is the king of progressivism. If we talked about Princeton, I'm banned from Princeton University.
I mean, you got Woodrow Wilson that came from there. You got Krugman that came from there. It doesn't seem like there's good people coming out of Princeton.
And then you wonder why they get bomb threats.
And a judge that says that the state has rights over the people.
So so when you look at it, it's policy. Princeton writes the policy, whether they're federal policies or state policies. Everything comes. If you're on that progressive side of politics, it comes right down to the state and through the cities. And also the countrywide, where if you have imagine if Jeb Bush gets in office.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, what's going to be coming out of Princeton University?
I don't know, but can we make this a 6-hour show?